So, you're thinking about coming out. First of all, congratulations. This is a hard moment. I just want to say, you're seen. I see you. There's a lot of us out here. We see you. And it's not an easy moment. You're not alone. And no one can change that. You're the only one that can. So I want to start out today by telling you welcome to this guide. This is the first video that I've ever made, but I thought it was important, you know? Coming out is not an easy thing. It's a pretty big deal. I remember when I came out, and yeah, that's another story. But I'll tell you a little bit about it at the end. So, I'm Jordan. I wrote a full coming out manual online that I will post in the description down below. It's a little bit different than this video, but I thought that it was important to make this video too because, you know, we aren't just one thing, and there's so many ways to approach coming out. Some people will never see this video. Maybe a video is not going to work for them. Just like coming out is a big process, and people have to do it differently. So do whatever's works best for you. Like, don't let anyone tell you, don't even let me tell you that my way is the way that you have to do things. This is just a way, and maybe it will work for you because it's worked for some people. It worked for me, some of it, and some of it I talked to some other people about, and I watched other videos. I did a lot of searching when I went to come out myself. So let's start off with step one. The first thing I want you to do is reflect. I want you to start thinking about who you are, because that's not an easy question. Saying it out loud is kind of a really big part of it. So I'm a gay man. I'm a gay cisgendered man. So I said it one day. I was like, you know, I'm gay. Actually, I didn't say that first, but I did say that at one time. I actually came out at first as bisexual, which is kind of common among gay men, or at least it was. It's a little bit less common now. I'm actually not sure what like the statistics on that are, but it was common in my generation to come out as bisexual before you came out as gay. People are a little bit more aware of who they are at a younger age now, and that's great. I think that it's important to, you know, realize that you don't have to be just one thing, you know? And let me say that sexuality and gender are two different things entirely, you know? I don't know that much about being on that gender spectrum. I'm pretty cisgendered in like some ways. I guess I'm like a little demi-gender, or, you know, gender queer in the sense that I'll do things that like maybe people think that girls should do, but I don't know. That's whatever. I think people should just be who they are. You know, I don't think that we have to have these rules on, oh, I have to do this because I'm a man, or I'm a woman, so I have to do this. But, you know, we all have different thought processes on how we think things should be and handled. So I wrote this down, and you'll see me look down a little bit because I've written some stuff down because I wasn't sure how to approach this video, but I'm doing my best, so please bear with me. Thank you so much. So say, I'm blank, and this is a part of who I am. So that could be, I'm gay, and this is a part of who I am. Or I'm lesbian, and this is a part of who I am. I'm bisexual, this is part of who I am. I'm transgender, this is a part of who I am. I don't have to also say that this is what I am. You could also say, I think that I am blah blah blah, you know, because we don't know sometimes. Sometimes we're like really kind of still exploring that, but we're sure that we're not this other thing. And it's okay to say I think and that I'm still exploring. I would think if you're at the point that you want to come out to some people though with some of this, that maybe you're at a good headspace. So the next thing you're going to do, step 2, is going to be evaluate your safety. So I want you to ask yourself some questions, and these are important. Do I rely on someone who may react negatively that helps me with housing, money, school, or something else that's important? And you have to ask yourself these things because maybe it's not the right time to come out yet. Always do stuff in your safety and what's going to be best for you. Because if you have your parents or somebody that's paying for your college, and you come out to them and all of a sudden you don't have college to go to, or you don't have a house to live in anymore, as much as it sucks, it might be in your best interest to wait off a little bit until you can get out of there or get out into a better situation. Step 3, support systems. This is really important because I don't think that I could have come out the way that I did without it. Who do I think is going to be supportive? So think about friends and family members, anybody that you think is going to have your back. And then also look up online resources. There's going to be all kinds of things that you're going to be able to find. You're going to be able to find local support groups. You're going to be able to find all kinds of really good online information for resources and support that you can find outside of your home or wherever it is that you're coming out, or whoever it is that you're coming out to. There's all kinds of things out there. Step 4, choose your first person. And that can be complicated, but it might be important to choose someone who's supportive to do this to first, because they might react differently than if you have somebody who's not going to be supportive. And maybe when you are ready to come out to that supportive person, you can have, or that non-supportive person, you can have that supportive person there with you to be like, hey, this is who I am. I don't know how you're going to react, but they're here with me because I am telling you something. I mean, and maybe not, if they ask why that person's there, maybe be like, they're just here because they're being supportive of me having this conversation with you, which might be a big lead-in, but it might need to be explained. I don't know your situation, but do is what's going to work best for you. Step 5. Now you're going to make a plan. So decide how you're going to do it. Is it going to be in person? Is it going to be written in a letter? Is it going to be a video that you send to somebody? Is it going to be a text message, which I wouldn't suggest, but sometimes that's the only way that you can do it. Is it going to be a phone call? What is it going to be? Like, write it out on paper, write it out some way. Writing things down is important to me. I mean, as you can see today, I write everything down, because if I don't have a plan of how I'm going to do something, I'm never going to get it done the way that I want. And you don't have to necessarily sit here and read from it. Like, just be able to glance down and be like, kind of have an idea of where you're going with things. And make it simple. Don't be like a 4-paragraph essay of things and then be like, at the end, be like, okay, this is who I am. Unless that's what works for you. Some people might need that, but I wouldn't suggest it. I would suggest keeping it simple. So step 6 is going to be your time and your place. I stress this. Pick a calm and private moment. Not when you're having a party, or when Aunt Jenny is bringing her kids over for the weekend, or you're going to go to a big celebration, or there's going to be a lot of stress. Just kind of find, like, a Tuesday afternoon when your parents both have off work. I'm just using parents in this example. And you got out of school early and you guys are just sitting around. Maybe you're gonna have a dinner, something, just a calm afternoon where nothing unusual is going on. And maybe come in and be like, hey, in about 2 hours, do you think we could sit down and talk? Do it casually. Don't make it like in 2 hours time, I need to sit down and talk to you for a 15-minute period. Because then they're going to be like, well, what's this about? Just be like, I'm working on some homework, and in about 2 hours when I'm done with that, like, do you think we could sit down? I have some things I want to talk to you about. It's going to work really well when you do that. Also, at this time, call your supportive person and have them come over if you can, because I think that will be helpful. If you're coming out to, say, parents that aren't as supportive, they're going to be able to be there with you, and giving them time to get over there so that you have your plan ready is important. Now we're on action. So step 7, that's going to be saying it, and that's hard. That's going to be the hardest part. And like I said before, keep it simple. 1 or 2 sentences, maybe at most a paragraph, and just say it however you feel, but here's a good example. Say, I love you both so much, and I hope this doesn't affect any of our relationship, but I just got to tell you, I'm gay. Like, I'm 100% sure that this is who I am, if you're 100% sure. And, I hope that you'll accept me for the way I am, but that's just who I am. And then that leads right into step 8, because at this moment you need to pause. Silence does not mean no, you can't be that. Silence means sometimes that they're processing in their brain, and maybe you need to say the words out loud. I would like you to digest this for a second. I'm going to go into the kitchen. I'm going to grab something to drink. I'm going to grab a snack. I'm going to give you a minute to sit here and think about it. Maybe talk between yourself if you have 2 parents, or even if you just have one who's just sitting there like thinking. Like, just give that person a minute to process what you've said, because it's not just, I tied my shoelaces today. Like, it's a bigger thing than that, and we should both respect ourselves and respect the other person enough to have that moment to think about it. So now we're going to go into step 9, and that's also a hard part, and that's handling the responses. So if they are supportive, awesome, congratulations, this has been a good experience for you. I'm so happy that you felt comfortable and you've had supportive people around. But unfortunately for many people out there, that's not the case. And if it's not, you're going to need to be in high action mode at this point. You're going to know, maybe they didn't even take the time to process. They're just bam, and they're right into you. Set boundaries with them. You're allowed to end this conversation when you would like. This is not their time to tell you that you need to change, to tell you that you can't do this or any of that. You can end this conversation when you're like, hey, I didn't tell you because I wanted your opinion on this. I told you because I just wanted you to understand who I am, and it was eating at me. Maybe if that's the case. I don't know how it is for everyone, but I know that a lot of people that I've met, that's been the experience for them, and they've had to end that conversation. And this is also when you maybe during your planning time have made a safety plan, and when you were looking at resources, you have some resources, and your supportive friend might look at you and say, hey, let's get out of here. Whatever it is that's going to be safest for you, this is that time. This is that handling the responses. If you need to go. Don't let them make you stay there and try to change you, and because it's never going to work. You could sit there and lie to them at that point and be like, oh yeah, no, I'm never going to be this. But let's just be honest with everybody. Like, you are who you are, and that's a beautiful person, and that's a courageous person for doing this. Like, so just be that person. And then step 10, that's going to be the aftercare. So no matter the case, I want you to go out and celebrate yourself. Like, you did it. You made it to this moment. You made it. You came out. You told somebody, or multiple people, or however this is working out for you, and you should be proud. I'm proud of you. So you'll always have people in your court. I want you to rest for a little while if you can. If maybe, even if this went for good for you, maybe go upstairs if you're still at your house and take a rest. Or maybe you did leave your house, like sit in your friend's car when they're driving, or get to your friend's house and, sit on the couch and just be alone with yourself for a minute and just sit there and rest and think about everything, and, check in with how you feel. Like, and don't just like up here how you feel, like how does your body feel? Like, write that down. Okay, like this was hard, like I'm scared, like I have a pain in my chest, my stomach is in knots, I feel like I have cold chills, and write that down in a journal. Like, a journal at this moment could be really helpful for you in the long run. Writing down how your experience went and everything that was said by everyone, and this is the moment to do it because it's still really fresh on your mind. And when you go back maybe to talk to some people, if they weren't as supportive later and they try to change their story, you can be like, well, you're trying to say that you said this other thing, but that wasn't how I remembered it. I wrote it down, and this is what I remember. But that might also not be the best if they're trying to rebuttal and be like, oh, I wasn't not supportive. Like, you know, it's a really complicated moment, but, you know, do what's going to be best for you. Like, because in the long run, there's going to be people out there, you know. I watched another video and somebody was like talking about how they came out as trans and their parents were always, oh, I'll always remember you as my little girl, and they were a trans man. And at the end of the day, that's verbal abuse. Like, you know, verbal abuse isn't always yelling and screaming. There's a lot of things and a lot of complications in this situation. Get the resources that you need. Get a hold of the Trevor Project. Get a hold of your local community center. Find out what's going to be best for you, and work that after plan, you know? So, I'm going to close this up. You know, thank you for watching this video today. This has been a really interesting experience, and I hope that out there this helps, just even if this just helps one person to be able to have that conversation, I'm proud of you. But I hope this reaches as many audiences as it can. There's resources, there is hotlines, there is community centers, there's all kinds of things out there, and I'll keep saying that. There's also, and I will stress this, there is a suicide support hotline. You are worthy, you are cared for, and there is supportive people you'll meet in this world. If you have people who aren't supportive, I love you, and I don't want you to do anything to harm yourself. So call that line, call whoever, get down in the comments and say, hey, I'm not feeling too good, I need to talk to somebody. And as soon as I see it, I will message you back, and we can talk through whatever you need to talk through. Anyways, thank you for watching this video again. I hope that you guys all have a fantastic day, and thank you for coming to Jordan's Coming Out. So I'm going to bring a friend on here, and they're going to tell a little bit of their story. I asked them a couple of questions. How did you choose who to tell first, and what words worked for you? What told you it was the right time for you? What was the best supportive reactions you have received? And what helped someone when someone reacted poorly? So I guess I will start out with telling you a little bit about my own coming out story and how I answered these questions. So when I came out, I was about 12 years old. And that's kind of a young age. Like, a lot of us aren't really sure what we feel and how we feel, but I was pretty positive at that age about exactly who I was. So the first person I ever told in my life was my sister, my older sister. I've always looked up to her. She's an integral piece of my life still today. I love her to all ends of the earth. She's a very important person to me, and she's always made me feel really comfortable. Like, when I was growing up, my sister had a lot of friends who were lesbian women, and she always kind of talked about how much she would love if she had a gay little brother. Like, kind of, it was pretty apparent that I was, and like kind of hinting at me, you know, hey, like, I see you, like, it's okay for you to tell me when you're ready. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know how you get a gay little brother, you know, kind of denying it, because there was a time when I knew, but I wasn't ready to say anything yet. So, and when I did tell her, like, the words that worked for me, and I just literally straight up said, I was like, hey, Michelle, I think that I like boys, like I'm bisexual. And she's like, okay, I know, good job. And that was the end of the conversation, really. So, and what told me it was the right time for me, I needed to say it to somebody else, because part of me felt like telling somebody else was gonna validate it for myself. And once I knew, like, she supported me, like, my mom came very quickly after that, and it wasn't a few years till I came out to my dad, who I felt like wasn't gonna be as supportive. And yeah, I don't think that he was as supportive when I first came out. He still had reservations and still kind of wanted me to like girls, and that's okay, you know. That's just how he felt. It wasn't until I was about 19 and I had a boyfriend that he really liked because he was masculine and he was like this son that he wanted because I never fit the description for him, that he really like was like, oh, okay, this is, you know, who you are. I can, you know, I can vibe with that, and like, and that works, you know. I wish that he would be other things, but like that's my dad, like, and whatever, like he is who he is, and I accept him for that, just like he accepts me for who I am. And maybe he doesn't fit my description, and maybe I don't fit his description, but that's okay. Like, you know, that's part of life sometimes. Um, I think the best supportive responses I have received, I think, was for my sister. Like, honestly, like it wasn't like, oh yay, like, yeah, like, or it was just like, okay, yeah, like, I know, like, it was kind of like validated, like that was okay. Like, she already knew who I was. I've actually coming out is a process that always happens, and I've come out a lot of times where there's people like, oh my god, like, I love gay people, like, do you want to be my gay best friend? Like, that's so amazing. Like, that's really not supportive. Like, it's kind of patronizing you. It's putting you like on this pedestal, and in a way it's kind of fetishizing you. Maybe not like a sexual way, but like it is kind of like in like a personal reaction kind of way, and it's not something that I really vibe with. um and then what helped when someone reacted poorly, I think that, like, honestly, like, just kind of being like telling them that, you know, they're okay to feel how they feel, like they have the right to feel that way, but I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not going to match their description of how I should live my life, and putting up those boundaries we talked about, and not being willing to change myself to be somebody for them. I think it helped me. Maybe it didn't help them, but at the end of the day, this is your coming out story. This isn't their coming out story. So you make your story how you want it, not the other way around. But yeah, thank you again for watching my video today, and I hope that you have a great night.
Hey there, I'm Julian, and I'm a trans man, and I'm really glad to be a part of this project, so thank you for inviting me to share. So, when I first started thinking about coming out, the first person that I actually told was somebody that I really trusted deeply, someone who had never made me feel small or judged, and that person happened to be my partner, so I was pretty lucky with that. And it wasn't a dramatic moment. It was more like I was unraveling things that I had tucked away for a very long time, and he was the one person who had already seen all those pieces. And I remember saying something like, "I think I've just always been a boy," and I didn't really realize that I was allowed to say that out loud. And he just looked at me and said, "That makes sense." And he told me that he loved me. And I think that's when I knew that it was time for me to um, start coming out all the way and start transition and stuff like that. And I knew that was the right time because pretending had started to just really ache. I mean, it had before, but it was not just like emotionally, it was starting to really affect my body, and I felt like this constant disconnect, like I was watching myself live someone else's life, and I didn't want to keep doing that anymore. And I had finally gotten to a point where I felt strong enough, and even if it scared me, I needed to come back to myself. And the most supportive responses weren't loud or performative. They were quiet moments where people used my name without hesitation, my proper pronouns without hesitation, and they didn't make me feel like I had to explain everything. They just accepted it and stayed close, um, which was really important because no one should have to explain their identity or who they are to somebody else so that they accept you. It's more about just letting people know so that life can continue. But not everyone reacted well. Some people made it about them, and some people just stopped talking to me altogether and went silent. And I think what helped was stepping back and giving myself room to feel that grief without thinking that it meant that I did something wrong. And I reminded myself that their reaction isn't a mirror of my worth. And I leaned into the people who made space for me, who didn't need me to shrink or soften it, who listened to me, and who just said, I see you. Because that's more important than anything else. Is you tell someone your truth and they say, I see you, and they don't ask, questions that are probing or ask you to explain things. And I guess if you're watching this and you're not sure how to come out, there really is no perfect script. You don't really need one. You just need enough safety, a sliver of readiness, and at least just one person who makes you feel like your truth won't break the room. And I just want you to know that you're not alone, and you never were. There are people around you that are going to accept you for who you are, because who you are is beautiful and worthy of love and acceptance. And there are going to be people who are going to push back on that and make you feel like you're not worthy and make you feel like you're wrong for who you are. But that's on them. That's their problem. And you will find the people that make you feel safe and accept you for exactly who you are, which is a beautiful person. Thanks for letting me share.